Hey guys, I'm here with another tutorial. Today we will be going over the neck and the torso. So let's get into it. The first one I'm going to be showing you is for the females because I always start with the female. And I go down to the male, the kid, and the baby because they all have different torso proportions. Alright? Since it's a neck and torso tutorial, you're going to want to start off with the neck. I just basically, depending on the gender, it depends on the thickness. And depending on the age, it depends on the thickness as well. But I draw a rectangle for the neck, because that symbolizes it, and down the middle of that, which would generally be at the bottom, the line that goes down the head from our head tutorial, all the way down for the center of the body. And for the rib cage, you want to draw an oval shape like this. And put a curve into it for the bottom of the rib cage or the bottom of the sternum. For the pelvis area, I draw a oval, but instead of it being vertical, it's horizontal. So it's like this. And I put two of these shapes in there to symbolize that's where the legs are going. And then I make the waist. And I roughly sketch in the breast area. The chest area, of the girl. That's your female. On to the male. Males will generally have thicker necks, so I'll draw a bit of a thicker rectangle to symbolize that he's male. In the center of that, I go down as well. And I draw an oval again for his rib cage. And I put in that little curve to symbolize the bottom of it, the bottom of the sternum. And an oval again for his pelvis. The goal is to simplify your anatomy into simpler shapes because that's basically what anatomy is a simplified version of a human. And I draw the waist. For him, I don't give him a too prominent of a chest area. Now on to kid. Kids will generally have a smaller body proportion. So I'll give them their rectangular neck to symbolize that it's the neck, because that's generally the shape that most artists take for the neck. Use this unwanted line. A line smack down the middle. It'll be smaller than the other two. And an oval for the rib cage. Bottom of sternum. And the pelvis will be a little bit closer to the sternum since they're a child. So I'll put it about I put it about roughly about right here. And then I attach the waist, but I go straight down with it since children generally have a bit more meat to them. Now for babies. Like I said in my head videos, my head tutorials, babies are very simple. They're simplified. They're very little, kind of almost like a chibi. That's the neck. Smaller body, smaller line. an oval, a small oval for their rib cage, small sternum, and their hips close and that. Almost kind of like they're a bit chunky. Let me clean this up a little fast. And so I can show you how it would look. Like that. Alright, next one is the side. For my females, I give them the rectangular necks. And I draw a curving line. Bit of curving line and stuff. Again, an oval. This time the sternum shape is going to be right here. Or it could be over here too, depending on which side you're seeing. But the sternum will be on what side you're seeing. So this part right here will be erased. It's below that. Place the pelvic line, oval. And I draw this shape, almost like a semicircle, in the center. And I draw the back in, out. And then this just comes straight down. That. Then you can give them their chest. Like that. Now the male. Rectangle for neck. Theirs will be a bit curved, but not as much as the females. Oval. Sternum. Now again, it depends on which side you're doing that the sternum will show. So if you're showing a character face pointing that way, their sternum will come up on this side. Their face is pointing that way, sternum on this side. Anyways. And I draw the pelvis. The semicircle in it again. Back. Almost like the females, but not as bent in. And then, of course, their abdomen. Kid. Rectangle for neck. Like that. And a slight curve to the body. And then their rib cage, which is smaller than their older counterparts. And their sternum. Again, their pelvis is a bit closer. That semicircle in there. Back. Their belly. Baby. Neck. Line. Rib cage. Their sternum in there. And their little baby pelvis. Their belly and their back. Alright, 3/4 view. Hold on, I'm going to put in all the basic rectangles in there so that way it goes by a little quicker. Alright. The females, It'll come off not exactly in the middle, depending on which position they're facing, which way the 3/4 is. But it'll come off slightly to the side instead of in the middle. But you'll still get that curve downward. Of course, her rib cage, her sternum. Remember, one part of the sternum will be smaller than the other because of, you know, the way that it's proportioned and stuff and different views. Her pelvis, again, same thing like her torso, like her rib cage, positioned differently. And here you'll see the bend of her back. Stomach will come in. Not come in, but you'll have her tummy area, this. And of course, the chest area. Males, you'll have their rib cage again, their sternum, their pelvis, their back, and their belly. Kids, ribs, your rib shape. You'll have your pelvis. Now note on the side that's over here that seems smaller, the pelvis, on the one that's closer to you, you want to do a curving line like this, like you normally would if it was in like the front view. Since it's inside 3/4 view, you'll still get that curve, but on the other side, it'll be a straight line. So it'll be almost like a check mark, if that makes sense.